Welcome viewers, this is Winch here. Hope you enjoyed that little opening Battlefield 1 montage with some clips here of the MG15. That's what I want to talk about in this video today. Give an in-depth review of both variants of this gun, explain why this is my #1 weapon in Battlefield 1 right now with over 700 kills, the suppressive variant. But I've got these stats here in front of you from simthic.com, both the MG15 Storm, which is with a foregrip, and MG suppressive, which is with the bipod. And just for comparison's sake, I put the BAR up there as well to show you it does do less damage than both these weapons, but the ADS spread on that BAR is much better. In other words, you have much more accuracy when you're gunning with it compared to the MG15s that have a .96 spread there, as you can see when you're running. So you don't want to be running around with this gun. You want to kind of be in place. The MG15 Storm variant, which I'll have gameplay in the second half of this video of, has about 30% less recoil, either up, left, or right. So the MG Storm is a very good option. I really like that gun as well. Just so happens that most of my kills have been with the MG15 suppressive variant with the bipod, because they've really buffed the bipod in Battlefield 1. You don't have to deploy it like you used to in previous battlefields with an actual action. You just lay down and you pause for a second and it automatically deploys, or you run up to a ledge, automatically deploys there. So it's really nice to have that added accuracy and range, and you can see me take advantage of that in several situations of these clips here as I press on aggressively with this class. In this video I'll kind of be showing how I use the support class, arguably one of the weaker classes in Battlefield, but I find myself being the most effective with it. I've tried the medic class. I really don't like those DMR 3-hit kill type guns that you really can't even spam. Seems like the accuracy goes down, and with suppression coming back into Battlefield, I really find support class being a viable option countering those higher type accuracy weapons, because if I got the drop on an enemy or I just start firing around his head and suppressing him, chances are with those highly accurate type weapons, whether it's a bolt action or a DMR type weapon, that's two classes in the game right there I can essentially negate with little to no effort on my behalf, other than just proactive battlefield management and tactics and giving suppressive fire. I pulled this clip out of here for the montage beginning. Sometimes in the gameplay you capture some of these moments. It's like, wow, only in Battlefield. You know, see this tank up here? This tank was a thorn on my side the whole match. One of the things about support class is the limpet charge. You can pull that out. Look at this airplane making a strafe right there. Got some fire on him. I run to his blind spot there, put the charge on it, essentially disabled the track on it. So now the guy's got to come out. I got to take him out. There's a cavalry horse right here in the middle of that. Take him out before he sabers me, and then get one more kill here at the end, and the teabag for the win. Those are back, gentlemen. Thanks for your comments. You know me, that's not gonna subside anytime soon. Although I may have fooled you on that first video, Battlefield. Again, another cavalry man right here. Let me just look at the suppressive fire effect of this gun. Again, another kill. I mean, just going ham here, beast mode on, taking out this tank, and yes, I mean, I'm a little excited about all this, but that tank still manages to pull away, which is pretty unbelievable. I don't like that repair option that you can do inside the tank. Again, call me a noob. Airburst mortars are back. This is what this class is good for, and you're going to see here in a moment just how I just massacred this entire squad. I think about 6 guys right here too. I'll show you here a clip of their bodies that are laying there. I really like this game mode Pigeon. The Pigeon game mode is a really high action infantry type game. I don't have to worry about those tanks, you know, going 100 and 0. Look at these squads right here. You know, throwing out ammo for my team. Again, support class, look at all these bodies. Rip the dream. A support class, I think, is a very good class in this game. You just have to know how to use the weapons, and I have no problem at all dropping. I've dropped nearly 50 kills before in Pigeon game mode using support class gun. That's not easy to do. A lot of times these game modes will run 8 minutes long. 50 kills in 8 minutes is pretty good score. Again, stimming the team, kind of seeing where they are at. Again, suppressive fire right here. I know where this team wants to go. They see the pigeon, they target off, whatever your objective is. Well, there's a pigeon, the flag, a bomb site. You know, set your bipod up in at a perpendicular angle to where you think the enemy's coming from, where you have cover, and man, can you just slaughter and decimate a team. Come around on flanks. You're going to see gameplay all throughout this footage, particularly in the last half of this footage. I know this is a long video, guys, but again, quality over quantity here. I really want to hit this home. I don't see many people doing this. Kind of explaining the viability of this class, the tactics, and how these guns, although, you know, maybe one-on-one, head-to-head, and close quarters aren't really their strong suit, but if you play to your advantage and strengths, flanking the team like this, throwing out the bipod here for a moment, I mean, it just makes it a whole lot easier just to quickly wipe down 3 or 4 guys and catch them off guard. So again, this is something I've always harped on Battlefield tactics and games. This is one of the things that's great about Battlefield, is using weapons strengths to your advantage and using strategy to your advantage and exploiting the enemy's weaknesses and capitalizing on your strengths. Those are kind of if I could talk, the paper, rock, scissors mentality that developers had in mind with these classes and guns. And I do like the fact that it seems like things are a little more balanced now. There's just not one go-to class everybody can run. But on another criticism of that too, I feel like Battlefield 1 lacks the depth that we had in Battlefield 4 in terms of weapon attachments. I mean, on Battlefield 4, I mean, we had so many weapons and attachments. You could tailor your loadout so many times, and I feel like with just 4 or 5 guns here in Battlefield 1, things might get stale pretty quick, because my argument is, you know, this gun's pretty much the best in support class, and there's not much reason to run the other guns. And with there only being 4 or 5 guns, it's like, okay, I mean, 6 months from now, what are we going to be doing? Counting on DLC to bring in guns? I don't really like that too much. So I'm struggling with that a little bit. I'm enjoying the gameplay. I'm enjoying adapting to the era and the genre of the shooter. But I still have my criticisms about, and my concerns about, again, the longevity or prospects of this game, given it's just 5 guns per class. And like, for example, the top tier support class gun took me forever to get, by the way. Nearly ranked 30 playing exclusively support just gets out ranked 10 gun. Is not very good. You know, 26 rounds is pretty meager in that gun. I can't remember what the heck it's called. But what I talk about, again, is positioning. Is something I always talked about in my strategies. Getting up here on top of like a castle, a head glitch type spot. Again, this is just prime bipod spot. I can deploy the bipod in a moment's notice here, and then retract at any time, and just turn this weapon into laser beam type accuracy with 200 rounds of suppression. But like, this game loves, you know, snipers are a considerable threat, and most people would criticize my gameplay here, or a lot of people would, I would say, and say, you know, you're really exposing yourself there to high vantage point, and putting out a bipod really restricts your moment, makes you vulnerable to, as a stationary target, to sniper fire. And that's true. You just got to know a good balance. You know, you get a kill with it or two, move the bipod, reassess, always keeping situational awareness around you 360 degrees. Don't get me wrong, I get sniped many a times pulling out a bipod, and here's a classic example, just losing situational awareness. Enemies coming up in front of me, I get fixated on target in front of me, didn't realize there's an enemy right next to me that just got the good old knife on me, and hats off to him. So I caution you about the bipod. It is restrictive, and it can lead to your demise if not implemented effectively or properly. Again, I mean, call it what you want. The air burst right here, I'm mopping up thousands of points here, and I'm focusing on those embedded, concentrated clusters of enemy, and that's what support class is good at doing. It's good at locking down corridors, lopping off sections of the map, laser beam accuracy at long range, destroying mobs of enemies, and then using the suppressive fire or the mortar effect to eliminate cover or wipe out clusters of enemies that are being a little bit negligent out there. And not, I mean, anytime I see like my teammates, you know, 4 or 5 guys together, I get on the comments and say, guys, spread out, you know, you're mortar bait, particularly in this pigeon game mode where everybody's trying to be a bodyguard for the pigeon carriers. Really why I like this game mode. It's just very high action, high intense gameplay without kind of the grandiose scale of all these, you know, BS out there where it's an airship coming in or tanks rolling in, and, you know, maybe you just don't have the right loadout to affect the tank, or nobody seems to really pay attention to vehicles as much in this game. I've noticed that a lot, that everybody's kind of turns a blind eye to the vehicle and say, you deal with it, I don't want to. So that's kind of why I like these infantry-focused game modes. But again, the gameplay in the last half of this video, I'll be focusing on the Storm and the MG15 Storm variant, which has, again, 30% less recoil on all segments, whether it's vertical left or right recoil, and I found it to be very effective as well. I'm really enjoying that, so I've been kind of shifting my gameplay to that more. But also, of course, my biggest criticism is I feel like I'm much less effective at dealing suppressive fire and putting out large amounts of fire downrange at long range. The Storm variant of whether it's a BAR or the MG15, those support class guns are only good at close to medium range. Beyond that, you really kind of put yourself at a disadvantage unless you're firing first and using suppression to your advantage. I also got make note of these weather effects in the game, where there's fog coming in on some of the more green foliage type maps. And yep, meleeed again. Or it's whether it's dust storms here. I really like these weather effects in this game. I think it adds a good dynamic to it. It's something we haven't seen as much in previous Battlefields, so I just want to commend, again, the developers on that. This is an ongoing process with me with this game. Every Battlefield's different, so just acclimating to the lighting, the graphics, the sound. The PS4 Pro releases tomorrow, which kind of gives you a hybrid 4K type environment gameplay. I'm actually going to go pick up one of those, and I'm looking forward to playing Battlefield 1 on that with some higher resolutions and textures. Again, it just keeps getting better as a gamer. You just can't deny this time. So here again, I'm showing my support class loadout, how I'm using, again, the mortar to take out buildings. It's a good cover eliminator. But again, maintaining situational awareness. You got to be aware when anytime you put a mortar out, I mean, more times than not, I'm sure many of you guys have tried and experimented with it. You put it out and you get killed. People come for you quick. You're a really big target there. It's real easy to just want to sit there and just run through all 5 shells. But as you can see there, a lot of times I'll shoot 1 or 2 shells, pull off of it, maybe eliminate a threat that's approaching, or just look around, use equipment around me as I'm using this heavy machine gun, and then go back on the mortar. So you just don't have to sit there and spend it, and that a lot of times will spend. Anytime you spend too much time in this game not paying attention, you'll get punished really quickly in this game. This is about smarts and being on your toes, and being aware that when you stay up here as a big target, people want to come for you, and just be on the ready. Always watch those ladders. Again, this is where support class is almost like as you can see, you could argue, almost like a sniper class up here with this magnification scope. Throwing out the bipod really makes this weapon effective at range. I have a whole vantage point up here, 360 degrees around, and anybody taking pot shots at me, unless they've got a sniper rifle, they're just not going to have a chance in hell of really stemming that. Again, throwing out ammo, remember, that's your role. It's a class where it's health, if you're a medic, or ammo as a support, or if you got the flare gun as a scout class. Throw that stuff out. Use those pieces of equipment, because they really do help your teammate. And as I was talking about, don't spend too long in the mortar, because again, people love to come up on you. And this guy totally got turned on, and he just got destroyed with 1911. I had to put that in there. Get destroyed, son. So this gameplay now, just really quickly, again, I want to mention just the supers, or whatever you want to call these things, the hero classes. The support class, I think, is the most ideal for dealing with those classes. Just give yourself some distance throughout the bipod, and you'll be very deadly against those hero overpowered classes. I wipe them out all day long. So let's move on to the Storm variant. This is some pretty good gameplay here. I dropped 50 kills in this gameplay here, and I really like this run and gun. I mean, you can tell noticeably that the recoil is 30% less, and that makes a difference. The only thing and this kind of goes with where they went with Battlefield 1. You'll see one clip here when I've flanked the team, and I've got 4, 5, 6 guys right in front of me, and I'm going fully automatic, but these guns like overheat if you have sustained fire for a prolonged amount of time, and that's for frustration. I don't like that mechanic. As you can see, I'm cleaning up on these guys, but these are just short bursts of fire. But prolonged fire somehow locks up your gun, or it overheats, like straight out Battlefront. Where did that come from? Why are they implementing that in a classic Battlefield type game? We've never seen any other Battlefield game other than Battlefront. I don't really like that. So it's as you see in the first opening montage clip that I showed. Again, when you get in that kind of big flank situation, you're like, finally, I've played smartly, I positioned myself, I'm going to use this weapon's advantages, but it takes so many rounds, 5 or 6 rounds to kill a guy, and there's 5 or 6 guys in front of you, so you essentially need to have 30 plus rounds of sustained fire, and this thing will eventually overheat, and it always happens at the most inopportune time. You got to pull back, and then by then they realize what's going on, and then they're turning at you, and you're not shooting them in the back anymore, and then you're in trouble. And then that's when I'm employing tactics like I did in the opening montage of throwing out a grenade, switching my sidearm, or pulling out the gun, or letting it cool off, and then dipping back out. Always firing first before I peek around the corner to start that suppressive fire effect, because anything you can do to lower those high accuracy guns is always going to be in your advantage, because most people in this game really like to run the submachine guns or the DMRs to use accuracy to their advantage. which this weapon is certainly, accuracy is always the biggest challenge for support class guns. But again, here you can see even in the Storm variant, without a bipod out, I can still lock down quarters and do what needs to be done. Now right here, a tank snuck up on us. My buddy Righty here is like, hey, somehow a tank just got behind us in this rush gameplay. So thankfully I had the right loadout, the limpet charge, and I just went around and flanked this tank and no problem. Rambo in here. This really could have been a problem for our team with this tank on this position. But with that charge and throwing out some grenades, it was a good team effort there, and we eliminated that threat very quickly. Here's this moment where I'm going to talk about this epic flank where I kind of come up here and I realize this team's up on position B, and there's just no way I'm going to go in there with this gun at this range and clean up guys in corners. So again, this is where I kind of think outside the box and like, all right, what are my alternate options? I keep seeing these guys I just killed when I started this clip coming in from this direction, so chances are I can get around there as well. Just be ready for people doing the same. So I have to kill, basically I had to fight through 3 guys just to get to this position and catch these guys off guard. Look at this range on this gun. Again, so here we are. There's about 4 or 5 guys. This is what you want to do. This is what you play this class for, and it overheats. I'm like, oh, dang it. So I quickly switched to my Modelo. This guy got revived. I'm just in over my head. Thankfully, Righty spawns on me, and I got to reload. All kinds of mess. We totally just bluffed or bungled this big time. And of course, I can't revive him. And so I just figured, well, just stick around here. We lost the objective, and I'll try to get a few more kills since I got fallback anyway. But this is where I quickly dip into this foliage and cover. You'd be surprised how much this guy totally didn't see me through there. There's no one I didn't see here. I don't know if he got revived or what, but again, foliage, laying down prone, you'd be surprised how many times that will save your butt in this game. And that's another reason I like the suppressive variant in the MG15, because when you lay down prone with a bipod, I mean, people don't see you, and or a lot of times they just think you're a corpse, and by the time they do realize you're firing, they're usually dead. So you can, again, just hold down entire segments of maps, angles, wide angles, corridors. Right here, a bipod I could be putting up if I did have it, but the Storm variant doesn't. And that's what you get. That was a good shot. I don't know how that guy even saw me in the fog. So again, in this position, a rush was one of our more challenging points here, but in this last clip here, you can see how I just totally decimated this team. Actually got the last kill here and shut down for the win. Really enjoyed this moment, and I actually could have got more kills, but I actually got the last kill in the match, and that was it. So you see I get this guy here, the game ends. I think there's still 2 more guys up there laying down. I could have pushed up those stairs, and the onslaught could have continued. So MG15, guys, either the suppressive or the Storm variant, highest damage gun in the game right now, 23 damage. If you're in close, drops down slightly below that at range, but whether you're running and gunning or with a bipod, it's an extremely effective weapon. Suppressive fire is back in this game. I encourage you guys to look at the support class a little bit more. Just use caution about where you position yourself. Think about the things I've said about using strengths to your advantage, positioning. Don't go head-to-head. Don't go close quarters if you can help it, because you are going to be pushing your luck. Although these weapons, if you're firing first, more often than not, can get you out of those sticky situations. Hope you guys enjoyed this long video. Apologize for the length, but I like to hit these things hard, and given the time I have with constraints, this is about the best I can do at this time. But appreciate your support over the years, and I will see you on the battlefield.